Rebekah's Reading Corner, and Merry Christmas. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about reading slumps. I know I often get into reading slumps myself, and I know that's kind of a problem that other people share. So I just wanted to go over a few things of how I deal with reading slumps and kind of overcome them. This is by no means a one-size-fits-all sort of situation. I just kind of wanted to share things that I do myself to get over a reading slump in hopes that maybe if you try it out, it'll help you too. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. The first thing I do typically is take a break, and that can either be a short break or a long break. A short break for me could be things like just going outside for a little while, or taking a break to get a snack or a meal, talking to one of my family members, just quite literally taking a little break from reading. As far as a long break, sometimes I feel like I'm pushing myself too hard to finish something, so sometimes setting it down for a few days really can help and keep me from getting burnt out. This also kind of goes into my second thing, which is to switch genres. Oftentimes I find if I've been reading a lot of books that are similar or of the same genre, it can kind of lead me to getting a little burnt out. So sometimes I will switch the genre of the books that I'm reading to kind of help reinvigorate my love for reading. For example, if I'm reading a lot of philosophical, deep dramas sort of thing, that can get a little bit emotionally overwhelming. So I'll switch to something lighter like fantasy or romance or something, or even something easier to read. Sometimes I fall back on, if I've been reading a lot of complex literature, I fall back on books I loved in middle school. The Lunar Chronicle series is always a great one for me. I also recently started reading the Waterfire saga, I think is what it's called. I started reading that again. Another thing that's really important is to eliminate distractions. I know I fall for environmental distractions literally all the time. So sometimes when I know I'm going to sit down and read for a little while, I'll do little things to try to eliminate some of those distractions for myself. My phone is a really big one, so sometimes I will set my phone on the other side of the room just for a little while so that I can focus on my reading, because I know sometimes if I have my phone right next to me and I'm trying to read a book, I will often reach for the phone instead. So setting it a little bit out of arm's reach helps to eliminate that distraction. I also know that I want to choose somewhere to sit that will be comfortable for me to sit in for a long time. Nothing is worse than sitting in a chair that's just not quite comfortable when you're trying to focus on the words on a page. So I always pick a really comfy spot that I know that if I don't move for a while, that I'm still going to be feeling okay by the end of it, and my tailbone is not going to be angry with me. The last thing I do to eliminate distractions is sometimes giving myself an auditory thing. I know I tend to have something on in the background when doing tasks, and so sometimes reading in silence can make my mind wander a little bit. So I like to listen to instrumental music. I typically try to align the genre of music that I'm listening to with the genre of book that I'm reading. So I'll listen to more folksy classical music with a fantasy or romance book, and something a little more electronic, a shoegaze sort of thing with sci-fi novels. And usually I try to avoid lyrics in the music because I think the words kind of distract me, but I think that instrumental music is very beneficial for me in focusing on what I'm reading, and kind of helps me get a little bit more immersed in the subject too. Another thing I like to do to get out of a reading slump is actually set a timer for myself. So what I'll do is I'll sit down with my book and I'll set a timer for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever I want. And then I will do only that for that amount of time. I will only read the book for 30 minutes and I will do nothing else within that time. And I think that kind of helps me channel in and really focus, because it makes the task of reading the book a little bit more manageable. by bringing it into a bite-sized piece. You know, I think to myself, okay, this book is going to take me a few hours to read, but right now I only need to read for 30 minutes. And the last thing is just to remember that reading should be fun. You know, unless you have to read the book for school or work or a book club or something, if it's not resonating with you, you don't have to finish it. And that's something I really struggled to come to terms with myself. You know, I was always such a completionist, and I felt like guilty putting down books that I didn't enjoy. I felt like I had to see it through. I had to read it from cover to cover. And, you know, that's just not true. If you really don't like a book, it's gonna take you forever to finish it. And I think reading a book you don't enjoy is just not worth it in the grand scheme of things. You know, there's so many books out there, and so many of them that you will enjoy. So there's really no point in wasting time on a book that you hate or are bored with. Don't force yourself to spend hours on something that you don't enjoy. And that was all of the things that I do to get out of a reading slump. I know that they weren't necessarily like groundbreaking, crazy stuff, but you know, I hope kind of listing them out maybe gives you an idea to try something you haven't tried before, and I hope that they were a little bit helpful for you. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.